Just waiting for a couple more. Okay, good afternoon and welcome everybody to today's webinar hosted by ECIS. ECIS is the Educational Collaborative of International Schools, established for 55 years as a not-for-profit organisation. We have over 500 members in 78 schools. My name is Georgie McIntyre and I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at ECIS, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's webinar. We are in unprecedented times. Virtual learning has exploded exponentially. Ensuring engagement and authentic learning is taking place has become paramount. How can you support your students physically, psychologically, socially, and cognitively as you would do in a face-to-face environment? Today's webinar will be an interactive experience in order to model and share best practices in teaching and brain science. You will be provided opportunities to practice these strategies through our online space. So Joy and Annabel will be including tools, exercises and experiential activities over the next hour, so please stay with us. We will be sharing a recording of today's webinar and there will be an opportunity at the end to ask questions via the chat box for Annabel and Joy. So without further ado, please let me introduce our experts. Joy Marchese is an author, educator and founder of Positive Discipline UK and the co-founder of iGrowco. For over 20 years, Joy has worked with thousands of children, parents and teachers to help foster a happy and flourishing environment in the home and in schools. Annabel is foremost a mother, entrepreneur, wellbeing and mindset coach. She is the founder of Wellbeing 360, a specialist coaching practice working with professional women and mothers, and provides corporate programs, talks and workshops. Please join me in welcoming and handing over to Joy and Annabel. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Georgie. So welcome everyone. We're so excited to be here with you today. I'm Joy. And Annabel and I are co-founders of iGrowco, and we've been doing a lot of workshops and seminars for parents and educators to really help support them during this time. And one of the things that we've noticed is the importance of transferring the same teaching or training skills that we do live and transferring those skills online. So we have created a new course called eLive, and so we're happy to welcome you to this course. And eLive stands for Engaging Learners in a Virtual Environment. So we're so excited to see you here. And please know that typically we would do this where it would not be a webinar, we would see all of you and we would do this all together. So what we're hoping is that even though we can't see you, since you can see us, we would like to ask you to please participate. Okay, so no one's watching you. But participate in all of the activities, because then you will get the most out of this workshop and you'll be much more likely to transfer what you learned today into your own online classrooms or meetings. So in this 45-minute session, we'll be doing a lot of experiential learning. There will be no PowerPoint. We are going to teach this webinar without a PowerPoint. So we want to show you how that can be done and how you can engage, how you can connect, and how you can motivate your students so that you can have successful meetings, classrooms, trainings, and events. So before we begin, we actually want to start with a very quick poll, and we'd like to ask you to kind of just check in with yourself. Okay, so we'd like to know, how present are you feeling right now? So you should have seen the poll come up. So just choose one. A, you have a million things on your mind right now. You're totally not present. You're a bit distracted, or you are fully present. So we'll see how we're doing in a second.
Just waiting for a few more answers here. Everyone's interacting, which is great. There's a few more people that were still waiting to respond.
And don't overthink it, just go right with kind of your gut. You might be so distracted that you're not paying attention to the poll. That can happen. You're washing dishes or you're folding the laundry.
Okay, shall we end it now?
Let's end it now. Let's see how we did. We're going to share the results with you. Okay, so you can see, more than half of you are, you're at least a bit distracted or super distracted right now. And we're going to do some activities to kind of help bring you back. And then we'll do a poll and see how you're doing later on. So we'll stop sharing the poll for now. And I'm going to let Annabel take over, and she's going to do our first warm-up activity with you. And we're going to really need you to participate in this. And I am going to participate along with you. So I'll be doing it, and you'll be able to see me looking silly. Okay.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. I'm just going to give you two instructions. One is jump in and one is jump out. So I want you to all stand up. Have a little shake if you need to, just to loosen up. And we're going to do this 3 times. So Joy will demonstrate and then we'll get into it. So for the first round, I want you to do as I say and say as I say. So Joy, if I say jump in.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Okay, here we go. So hopefully you're all standing up now, and we're gonna go. So jump in.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Okay, that's the first round. Now we're going to do the second round. And for this round, I want you to do as I say, but say the opposite. So Joy's going to demonstrate for us. So jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Okay, got it?
I'm really proud of myself, actually. Okay.
Okay, jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Okay, that's the second round. And now for the third round, I want you to do the opposite and say what I'm saying. So do the opposite and say what I say. So Joy will demonstrate. So jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump in.
There we go. Okay, so third round. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Jump in. Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump in.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Jump out.
Oh,
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
So hard.
Whew. Okay. So everyone, first of all, and we would love to use the live chat. So please, 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 when we ask questions, we would love for you guys to type in the answers. So first question is, what was the point of us beginning this workshop with that activity? What was the point? So I think we have some chat stuff. So let me try to open that up. Annabelle, if you get to it before I do. Let's see, what was the point? So I'm glad to see. So here we go.
So Georgia said she's laughing hysterically.
I love that. Okay.
And there's no way I could do that. More difficult than I thought it would be. Wake up, focus,
okay.
Engaged. Loads of comments.
So the point of that activity, yes, many of you are correct. It's to engage you, to get you focused, to motivate. So as we said, that's what this course is all about. And as you enhance the students' engagement, you will improve the students' learning. So we were preparing your brain for learning. And what we're going to do during this course is we're going to be sharing some of the neuroscience and some of the psychology with you and teaching best practices, and we'll be actually doing it. So neuroscience shows us, the studies show us, that getting children out of their chair, and adults, but getting people out of their chair increases their feelings of well-being. They feel better. And we know from psychology, we know that people do better when they feel better, okay? So adding exercise and movement to the classroom, it alters the neurochemicals in the body. It helps relieve stress, anxiety, and it improves attention. So if you were feeling not so present, you might be feeling more present. If you're feeling a little bit stressed, you might be feeling more relaxed if you were laughing. So yes, someone's mentioned brain gyms. So very similar in a sense. Okay, so Annabelle has another question for you.
Okay, so what were you learning throughout this activity? And if you do workshops yourself, what were you learning maybe about the way in which you run workshops, or in which the way, instructions might be perceived by your participants?
Someone in the chat said they experienced the frustration of unclear or contradictory instructions for participants.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so too many instructions at once can be really confusing, especially when we're firing them out really, really quickly. And we can sometimes do that when we have a lot of content to get through, we have a very short period of time, so we're really trying to get everything out there. But the reality is, people aren't taking it in because it's coming out so thick and fast. So the first thing that we're learning about here is to slow down and to really just take the time to kind of really focus on the topic that we're trying to talk about and to articulate it in a really clear and concise way.
And even more so online, to slow down. And you'll notice just by having that reminder for me, I'm forced to slow down. So it's really important to do that during online because it's even more challenging. So yeah. I just want to tell you a little, did you want to add anything else, Annabelle?
I just want to say one other thing. So the other thing that we're learning from that is, first of all, by us moving around, right? We're preparing ourselves for learning. We're getting the brain ready for learning. And we're really centering ourselves into this webinar, into this session, kind of leaving behind wherever it is we may have come from, whatever it is we might have been doing.
So we want to tell you a little bit about the framework of the eLive course. Our goal is really to help teachers or team leaders, whoever's running the course or the class online or the meeting online, how can you connect? And on a deeper level, how can you create connections online? How can you maintain engagements throughout a session? And how can you increase motivation with your participants? And it really reminds us to ask ourselves, am I connecting? Am I engaging? Am I inviting contribution with my participants? How am I modeling? So these are questions we need to be asking ourselves. And again, for static online teaching, so I don't know about you guys, but I have Zoom fatigue right now. I have been on so many meetings and webinars and conferences. And what I notice is when I'm seated the whole time and I'm just listening and taking notes, first of all, that limited interaction is boring, okay? I am bored and I lose focus. So we need to bring in those elements of human interaction and movement. Both of those are essential for learning. So our 3 pillars that we'll be sharing with you today, the connection, the engagement, and the motivation, are going to help you to teach online classes using teaching best practices, using neuroscience, and using psychology. And what that will show is that actually it will invite more cooperation, it will build stronger relationships with your students and your participants, and not only will they engage more, they will retain the content better. So the results are really connected, engaged, motivated students that do better. And I'm sure that there's not one person on here, you're all educators at some level, that doesn't want that for their students. And I can see even in the comments, human connection is so important. And we can do that online. We're going to show you right now. And Annabelle's going to she's going to start with our very first pillar today, which is relationships are key. How can you create deep, meaningful connections? She's going to do an activity now for us.
Yeah, so the activity we're going to do is all about creating kind of physical anchoring. So how are we anchored physically? So Joy, I'm going to walk you through it, and Joy is going to demonstrate, so you can kind of follow my voice and follow her movements. So first I want you to stand up. And I just want you to, again, just kind of shake off any tension you might be feeling in your body. Just get really relaxed and try to get really, really comfortable. And then I want you to stand hip distance apart and take a deep breath. And I want you to push down as you're breathing out. I want you to really push down into the ground and really feel that connection between the ground, between you and the ground, and your feet touching the ground. And then just have a good shake. Shake everything off. Shake the night off. Whatever happened last night, during the night, whatever happened this morning, whatever conversations you were having, any maybe arguments you had, or whatever might have, you might have brought with you before this session. Just shake it all off. And this sequence is really good to do any time of the day, whenever you feel like you need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a refresh, in the evening before you go to bed, if you're feeling low on energy. And then I want you to bring your shoulders up to your ears. Really stretch your shoulders up to your ears and close your eyes. And take a deep breath and hold the breath. And really feel that breath in your ribs. And then release it. Do that again. Move your shoulders up to your ears. Take a deep breath in. Feel that breathing, that breath in your ribs. And then breathe out. And once more, breathe in. Hold it in your ribs and then breathe out. And next, we're going to do a few really exaggerated shoulder rolls. So roll your shoulders up to your ears and back. Again. You rotate your arm, try and rotate your arms, move your elbows out as you're doing those rolls. And then bring it back. So do it in the opposite direction. Bring it back. Okay, you should be feeling much looser now, a bit more flexible. Now stretch your arms up. Try and touch the sky or the ceiling. Open your arms. Bring them down. Do it again. Arms up. Touch the ceiling. Stretch out. Have another shake. And if it feels more, if it feels more comfortable doing this sitting down, especially some of these last movements, and that's okay. And then I want you to just do some hip stretches from side to side. And just focus on just moving your hips. And then do some hip rotations around. So move your hips around in a circle. In one direction and in the other. And then pick your leg up, one leg up. One leg up and twist it out and do a couple of hip stretches. 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. Okay, there we go. Okay, come back and sit down. And now we're going to go into our next pole. So after that exercise, how do you feel compared to when we started this session 18 minutes ago? How are you feeling right now? Do you feel more present than you did at the start? Do you feel the same as before? Or are you feeling less present because, have thoughts come into your head that are kind of distracting you and taking you away, refocusing on other things? Benilda said alive. I love that. And Paige says much more relaxed and present. Okay, so overwhelmingly, 18 out of 20 of you are feeling more present. That really shows the impact of a bit of movement, a bit of resetting, awareness and presence, and how that can really change the dynamic of your participants in the room or on the screen.
Okay, so we can stop sharing the poll. And to me, when I look at that poll, first of all, it encourages me because we're teaching this session, and even if we ended it right now, you will feel better. So we've done our job. I feel like we've been successful in that sense. But think about your students, right? Imagine your students are in the same situation. If you can do that, and some people think that I don't have time on these kind of activities. I want you to shift your perception. I want you to see this not as spending or wasting your time. I want you to see it as investing your time. so that you have more present, more engaged, more focused students. Okay, really shifting that mindset. Anything else you want to add, Annabelle, before we move on?
I think I would just add that we're talking about connection and connection with participants. And whenever we're trying to teach, whenever we're trying to bring new concepts, we have this saying, which is connection before correction. So if you want to help somebody do something differently, if you want to teach them something new, you need to connect with them first, because once you connect with them, then you really have their attention, and then you can really help them, like understand new concepts, new ideas, new ways of thinking, whatever it might be. So connection is key. It's the first, we're talking about this as the first pillar. It is critical before you get into a teaching, learning environment.
And what we did just now was connecting with yourselves, even before connecting with your students. And what Annabel did is some of this physical anchoring, or these grounded postures that we did, they actually, from a physiological perspective and a neurochemical perspective, they help build trust. So it's an essential part of really creating a safe, interconnected environment. Okay, so if there's, and I like that, yes. So Georgie's putting notes on there, but we'll also answer questions at the end. So we're gonna throw up some teaching tips, okay? And I'm gonna put this on the screen. I said we weren't gonna do PowerPoints, but I'm gonna put this teaching tip on the screen. So switch to speaker view to connect with your students. So when you're teaching an online, I'll throw up some of these teaching tips as we go. When you're teaching an online session, it helps to put yourself, to make sure, or ask your students to put it on speaker view. So whoever's speaking, whether it's you or one of their peers, they're connecting more with that person instead of having it in the big gallery view. If you're doing a dance party, by all means, have it in gallery view. But thinking about how you can use your tools as well for connection. Now, I think it's time, we've been talking a little bit, it's time for a brain break. I know this shows a tea break, but we are going to take a brain break. So we're going to get you up and moving again. And this time, I'm going to lead you in this, and Annabelle's going to participate and demonstrate. So this is called Dynamic If Have You Ever. Okay, so I'm going to be asking you a question. And if it's true for you, then you need to stand up and do the requested movement. So I'm going to ask Annabelle to demonstrate. So it's going to sound something like this. Now, everyone should be standing at this point. Hopefully you are. Jump on one foot if you have ever been on a roller coaster. So keep jumping. Jump on one foot. Jump up and down on one foot if you've ever been on a roller coaster. Now, everyone else, join in. If you've been on a roller coaster, you should be jumping on one foot. If you want to keep this challenging, stay jumping. And I'm going to ask you the second question, and you can spin and jump. I want you to spin in a circle if you've ever been on a horse before. If this is too challenging, you don't have to jump on one foot and spin. Okay, so now you can stop spinning and jumping. Give you a little break. I want you to touch your toes if you have ever made a mistake. I hope everyone's touching their toes right now. There's no perfect human being. We all make mistakes, and mistakes are okay. I want you to do jumping jacks if you have ever told a lie. If you've ever told a lie, you're doing jumping jacks. Okay, I want you to twist from side to side if you've ever made fun of someone. Have you ever made fun of someone before? Now, I want you to reach up to the ceiling if you have ever been made fun of. Someone else made fun of you. I want you to reach up to the ceiling. And then I want you to sit back down in your chair if you've ever laughed so hard it made you cry. And I hope everyone's sitting. We all need a good laugh from every time to time. So that was what we call a brain break. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. Again, what is the purpose of doing that activity? What did you notice? And that was a brain break, but it also did some other things as well. So what else did it do that helped us to connect, that helped us to engage? So you can just answer that in the comments. It made you think. So I wonder, but Benilda, I wonder, it helped you refocus. I wonder if it made you think and it evoked some sort of emotion. So when I asked you, have you ever told a lie? Or have you ever made some of one, that might have brought you back and evoked some emotion? Or when I asked you, have you ever been made fun of? Okay, so we know, we've already discussed how physical activity can help us connect and engage. Evoking emotion can also do that, okay? Humor can also do that. So when you were jumping up on one foot and spinning around, you might have been laughing. And then also the building trust. Did you notice, well, you may not have noticed, but if we were all doing this live and we could all see each other and we would have all been doing jumping jacks and all been hopping on one foot and all been doing twists, we would notice that we've all made mistakes. We've all told lies. And just knowing that you're not alone and you're in the same boat, again, is another way to connect and build trust. So in this very short activity, we've hit a lot of those points. We've done movement, we've evoked emotion, we've had some humor, we've had the possibility of building trust. And what we've also done with these movements, folks, is we have engaged the vestibular system in the brain. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that system, but it is super important. It's the part, it's like right in your inner ear where all your ear hairs are. And actually, and I just learned this last night, I have to be honest, I'm not going to take full credit. I did a Facebook Live last night. It was incredible. So if you go on Positive Discipline UK on the Facebook page, you'll hear it. I had Angela, and I'm drawing a blank right now all of a sudden, who is a pediatric occupational therapist. And she started an organization called Timber Nook, and it's all about getting kids outside. And she spoke about the importance of engaging the vestibular system by lots of types of movements. So doing like spins and twisting and looking in different directions. And we just did that. In the full course, you're just doing a taste of our course, but in the full course, we get very much into the vestibular system and how it helps with our learning and our brain. So just noticing that. So just as a quick, oh, thank you so much, Paige. Angela Hanscom, thank you very much. So I want you to just think about taking those brain breaks. If you have your students or if you have your colleagues on Zoom for 45 minutes for an hour, we recommend doing a brain break every 15 minutes. And it doesn't have to take long. It can take 30 seconds. Okay. So it helps you create more blood and oxygen flowing around your body to the brain. It gives you more energy. It gets you more motivated and engaged to learn. So I'm going to share another teaching tip with you. Okay. So this one, you can see it's a quote. We don't learn from the neck up. We learn from the feet up. And some of you may have been lucky enough, and if you haven't, listen to Mike Kuksala's ECIS talk. He is an author. He's amazing. He's written The Kinesthetic Classroom and Training in Motion. He's one of our experts that's going to be doing a bonus session for the eLive course. So we have to, when we think about learning, we can't just think about the brain, we have to think about the whole body and how that impacts. So that brings us into our second pillar, which is really training in motion and how to maintain engagement. So understanding the brain and understanding that how can we transfer our knowledge into a virtual environment. So any movement-based activity can help to teach critical content, can really help keep kids engaged. So from brain research, we know a few things. We know that the body is a much more efficient tool, learning tool than we imagined, because it's paired with a brain that prefers to learn by doing. The brain prefers to learn by doing. I'm reminded of a quote. I think it's, oh gosh, my brain. This is what happens, right? It says, tell me and I will forget. Show me and I will learn. Involve me and I will, let me start over. And mistakes are opportunities. It's cool if we mess things up. We can just go back and start over. So number one, tell me and I forget. Show me and I remember. Involve me and I will learn. So the more you can involve your children in those physical activities and in their learning, the better, okay? So, and Joe is saying that they have free resources from Mike on their website, so check that out. He's really fantastic. So we are gonna do a quick activity, again, to help engagement. Annabelle's gonna demonstrate this, and you're just gonna do it together. It doesn't take much to do it. So if you can all stand up. Annabelle, if you can stand up as well. Yes.
Oh, we're doing jumping jack.
Jumping jack spin, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm standing up, sorry.
All right, so I want you're gonna do jumping jacks, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna turn to the right 3 times, and then you're gonna do jumping jacks and turn to the left 3 times. And I'll actually do this one with you. Ready? Everyone begin. You're going in circles to the right, and then to the left. And that's it, sit right back down. So again, in that 10-second activity, we have just engaged the vestibular system. We've got the blood flowing, the oxygen flowing throughout the body. So we're just demonstrating for you how quickly you can do these things. If we took another poll, I would hope 100% of you are more present than you were when we started, but we're not going to do another poll right now. So the other thing I want you guys to know that we know from research is that the brain does respond to movements. Walking around the room, using the body while teaching is really helpful because the brain is respond to movement through people and through objects. So on the screen, we don't move much. We sit here, we look in the screen, and people look at us. So you want to be able to use your whole body. Get up and move with your students. So again, taking what you already do well in the classroom and transferring it onto the virtual setting, the virtual classroom. So we are going to move on to pillar number 3, which is learning by doing, how to increase motivation. And Annabelle's going to do an activity with you now.
Okay, so just put your right hand up and then connect your thumb and your index finger into a circle. So make an OK sign. So you should all have this sign on your right hand. Take a breath. And then I want you to place the circle on your chin. Place the circle on your chin. On your chin. I can't see all of you, so I can't tell how many of you can see it or not. But hopefully your circles are now on your chin. So I just wanted you to notice how long it took you to work out that I was saying and doing 2 different things. And very often, we might say one thing, but we might be demonstrating another. But actually what has most impact in the way we teach and in the way we motivate and help others is by what we do, not necessarily by what we say. So really paying attention to what we're saying and what we're doing is really important. And I want you to think about, kind of try and go back and think about, your favorite teacher maybe as a child. If there was a teacher that really stood out to you, that you really loved, what was it about her that made you feel so, good about yourself, good about the way she taught you? What characteristics did she have? What did she model? How did she behave? And think about those characteristics and the power of those characteristics and the effect, the impact that they've had on you throughout your whole life. And very often it will be something that they did, something that they showed us, rather than what they said specifically.
Can you guys add in the chat box, add what were the qualities, what were the virtues that you really admired? Just throw those into the chat so we kind of get an idea. And then think about how are you modeling those same characteristics for your students? So maybe it was kindness, maybe they were just so kind, or maybe they were empathic. We're hearing genuine concern. What was it? Really thinking about it. And the reason we're asking you about to go back and to think about your teachers, right? We all remember our best teacher, Mr. Steinhardt, 5th grade, bless him. I'll never forget that man. He made me love math. Miss Firestein, my 2nd grade teacher, who ruined me as a student. I'll never forget her either. May they both rest in peace, because they were quite old when they taught me, right? And so when we go back and we think about where we kind of formed some of our belief systems, the brain is always trying to make meaning, right? Whenever new information comes in, the brain will always go to the hippocampus and it'll search for meaning and connections. So when you teach content, you can build those bridges between movement and content. You can use, by making it fun, by using humor, by connecting it to their lives and making it relevant, okay, you can help to increase your students' motivation, and therefore also through the meaning, make it meaningful and increase their attention, okay? So, you know, I want everyone right now to just take a breath. Anchor yourself to the floor again. Put your feet flat on the floor. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay? And I want to share another teaching tip with you. The brain responds to novelty. The brain responds to novelty. So what did I just do? What did Annabelle, what have we been modeling for you as far as novelty? Let me challenge you guys. How long is a person's attention span? Someone take a guess in the chat. How long is a person's attention span? I'm going to wait for someone to guess. 2 minutes. Nope. Good guess, Paige. Who has another guess? Close. We're getting close. Well, Myrna, you were close. 30 seconds. Cam, too high. 7 seconds. 7 seconds is the typical person's attention span. So if you are changing things every 7 seconds, I just brought this Buddha on the screen. That's actually helping your brain to learn, believe it or not. So again, we get more into a lot of the brain research in the full course, but we're just giving you a taster now. So we are going to do a quick review. And instead of just asking you multiple choice questions, we are going to do this review physically. So this is what we're going to do. When I ask you a question, okay, you're going to have to answer using your bodies. So if the answer is A, you're going to hop on 1 foot. If the answer is B, you're going to do jumping jacks. If the answer is C, you're going to do squats. And if the answer is D, you're going to do twists. Okay, so Annabelle's modeling that for you now. Now, if we were all on a live session where I could see all of you, you know how this would help me? 2 ways it would help me. Number 1, if I asked a question and you all started doing squats and you all got, then I know everyone has this. Everyone knows the answer. I can move on very quickly. Typically, when we do review with kids, we get the same kids raising their hands, right? The ones that know it all, or the ones that process faster than the others, or the ones that are extroverts. But we want to engage all students, right? So someone said this is too complex in instruction, difficult to remember. Yes, and we probably should have a visual, shouldn't we? That says A is hopping on 1 foot. Annabelle, can you do it again? B is doing jumping jacks. C is doing squats. And C is doing twists, okay? So don't worry if you get it wrong. If we were doing this with students, we would have that up there so they can see A, B, C, D. So here come the questions, okay? Annabelle, you sat down too early because you're gonna have-
I'm just gonna put it in the chat.
That's a good idea. See how technology, see what we can do? A is hop on 1 foot. Thank you, Annabelle. I hadn't thought of that. We all are learning together, aren't we? Okay, fabulous. So here we go. Question number, I'm just asking number 1. And don't move until I read all answers, okay? Let me read all of the answers. The 3 pillars of the eLife program are A, connection, B, engagement, C, motivation, and D, all of the above. So hopefully right now, if we engaged you and you were able to focus and take in the information, you guys would be doing a twist like Annabelle, because the answer is D, all of the above. Okay, question number 2. What is your greatest tool? Okay, your greatest A, humor, and wait till I've said all of them. B, modeling, C, knowledge, and D, luck. So right now, if you got it based on what we've said, modeling is your greatest tool as a teacher. You should be doing jumping jacks right now. And of course, humor and knowledge are also very important. Sometimes luck helps, okay? But modeling is your greatest tool that you can really control. So just a quick recap. We have 4 minutes and then we're gonna open it up to questions. So the first thing I just want to recap, during this 40-minute session, probably not even 35-minute session, we have done 2 live polls. We've done 6 physical activities. We've covered 3 topics on the brain and learning, and we've shared 3 teaching tips. Would you agree that we got through quite a bit? And I hope that you felt connected, you were engaged, and you were motivated to stay on. So we would like you to take 30 seconds, just 30 seconds, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, or you can put this in the chat, it's up to you. We just want to know what is 1 to 3 things that you learned during this session that you will apply to your online teaching or your online meetings, your online trainings. 1 to 3 things that you learned that you will apply. So either write that in the chat or write it down. So, okay, Myrna says using polls. A quick, easy way to gauge your audience, isn't it? So, brain break. Hi, Carrie. Reminded the value of physical movement in learning. Movement in meetings, brain breaks. Brain break every 15 minutes. Apply movement to answers. Regular brain breaks. Speaker view. Okay, great. So we have lots more activities. If you enjoyed this session and you want to learn more about neuroscience and psychology and experiential activities that you can use to really connect, engage, and motivate your learners, please get in touch with us at positivediscipline.co.uk. We will be launching this live, well, it's recorded, okay, but we will be doing it, it's recorded with live participants. Launching engaging learners in a virtual environment in about a month's time. So it will include 3 45-minute sessions, very similar to this, but each session will focus on one of the pillars. So the first session focuses on creating and having deeper connections. The second session is about maintaining engagement, and the third session is about increasing motivation. And then we have 2 bonus sessions, which we're really excited about, that you get with the course. And the first one is with David Taylor. He's the author of The Naked Leader. He's great. We already recorded his session. And the second session will be with Mike Kuksala, the author of Training in Motion and the Kinesthetic Classroom. And hopefully we'll have a third bonus session to share with you. So again, all of them are pre-recorded. You can complete them on your own time, and you'll learn a lot more experiential activities that will not only help your online classes, but you can use them in your classrooms. This is just teaching best practices. So we have a special treat for you today. If you are interested in this course, either for yourself or for all the teachers in your school, because we'll be giving schools the content that they can share with all of their teachers, then please get in touch. Email me today, joy at positivediscipline.co.uk, and I will send you an ECIS discount code that you can use for 20% off the course when we launch it. So get in touch so that I can put you on that list so that you can receive the 20% off. So thank you, Georgie, for putting that in the chat. So who has any questions? Anyone have any questions that you would like to ask Annabelle and I?
Tracy has a question. She said, do you have tips for online teaching? Can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
I can hear you, Annabel.
When you cannot do it live and do not know which students will access this and when.
So, for example, today, even if you, I mean, essentially in our mind, you guys were not here. Other than the chat and the live polling, we couldn't see you, we couldn't interact with you. However, if we did this as a pre-recorded webinar for our students, we would still say, just like we did to you at the beginning, get up, participate. We would do it with you. So if your students know that they're going to have a fun, engaging, interactive session with their teacher, they're much more likely to go on and watch it. You'll still never know, 100% did they watch the whole thing. But if they know that that's what they're going to get, they're much more likely to watch it. If they think they're going to come on and just see a PowerPoint slide with you talking, they're not going to feel as motivated and engaged to do it. I hope that answers that question. Anything you want to add to that, Annabel?
No, I think you've covered the main points. I think it's just for you, and when you're recording that session, to behave and speak as though they were in front of you. So say the things you would say if they were there. That's really going to engage them and connect with them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. I think Benilda here is saying that she's found this quite eye-opening as a teacher, and thinking about how she can apply that to sort of science lessons, etc., and making them a lot more active, so it can be, applied in the real world. We did have a question earlier. Someone asked around how can you possibly adapt this for sort of wheelchair users and individuals that are sort of, do have some sort of limited abilities at the moment.
So I was an adapted physical education teacher. That was my first teaching job. And everything I did, my father was in the Paralympics. So I grew up around people that had physical challenges, and it's adapting it for them. I mean, everything, if you have someone in a wheelchair, they can spin, they can do a lot of things. They can use their upper body depending what their limitations are, and knowing that and thinking about it in advance. If you know you have a student that's limited, how can you engage them and connect with them to make sure that they can participate in the activities? So it does take a little bit more pre-planning in that sense sometimes, or get them engaged by having them be the ones that are giving the instructions if they really can't. I had a student on that had a broken leg, and they were quite limited, but they felt really good about being able to give the instructions because they were invited. They felt super empowered. So remember what we said earlier on about making sure that you're thinking about how are students contributing. So if I'm with students, I might not be leading all of these activities. They are leading the brain breaks. That could be an assignment I give them. We just have to make sure we're giving brain breaks, but it empowers them because they have that basic need of belonging and contribution. So you can fulfill that by letting them lead it, and then they don't have to listen to you the whole time. I hope that helps. Anything you want to add to that one, Annabel?
No, I think that's really, that's really key, having them get involved and have them lead.
Yeah, I think certainly would empower those that are sort of, finding that they can't get involved in a physical environment. So absolutely, Joy, I think that's a great, and to hear that that's coming from experience as well is excellent. Someone else also mentioned, I noted down, you mentioned about the attention span of 7 seconds. Is that the same? Does that apply at any age, or is that just sort of for older children?
Well, so when you look at, if you look at advertising, for example, and they've done a lot of research on this, the average attention span is 7 seconds. You have to try to get your message across, and that doesn't mean the whole thing. It just means get their attention in that time frame, right? We know that for most adults, their attention span to sit and listen could be anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is pushing it. And for kids, 15 to 20 minutes. So it does depend on the age. But when we're online, I want you to take some time off of that, because our attention span decreases when you're online. So getting them up and moving and having those engaging sessions is really important. And I really recommend not doing a session any longer than an hour, but that's even pushing it. I try to keep it to 30 to 45 minutes tops.
Yep.
I would also add a point around, getting people's attention straight away at the outset, because if you don't catch their attention, then, it's that much harder to get them back. So really think about how you're engaging your participants in the very beginning of your sessions, in the very beginning of your workshops or your classes, whatever it might be. And it's much easier to retain them using some of the tools that we talked about today.
Thank you, Annabel. I think that's really, really interesting. Well, would you do this sort of similar activities sort of in a leadership, or can they be applied to sort of a team building activity at all?
100%. So we'll be doing an eLife course for trainers and managers and corporate, but I've been leading some workshops recently, and we didn't even adapt much. I did the same thing. They got up and we're doing jumping jacks and circles, and you had made the comment, Georgia, I feel like I've done my workout for the day, right? People enjoy it. They need to have, even adults need to have fun. They need to have meaning. They need to have connections. So it depends on the group, and you have to feel out your group. But I would certainly do it, even in the most stuffiest of board meetings. I would try to engage people, even by doing, I'm going to give away another activity that we do in the course. And I've done this with my teenage students. We do the ear, nose, switch like this. So if you guys all put your one hand on your nose and one hand on your ear, and then you have to switch. And if you do that quickly, I'm going to challenge you, Georgie. Come on. And what you'll see, there you go. You'll see people doing this, okay? And you can do that sitting around a board meeting table, and people will engage and they will laugh. And then you'll have the really competitive people that are like, I have to do this right. It's really funny. And that in itself, it engages the brain.
Sorry.
I love it. So I'm seeing, it's interesting. Benilda is saying that will be a challenge for science content courses online. This is the deal. It doesn't matter what content you are teaching. You can still take brain breaks. You can still assess them, like assess science using movements, right? And in one of Mike's books, I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Ready, Steady, Go. They actually, the last few chapters are about specific courses, like how to do it in math, how to do it in science. So I really recommend his books because he breaks that down, and it doesn't matter what you're teaching. You should do, these are just teaching best practices in a sense. So you will have more engaged students if you do, and they will retain the science that you're working so hard. And one good thing about science is that you have labs. It's already experiential, right? But if you're just doing that online, then even more so, you want to make it as experiential as possible. Yeah, Ready, Steady, Go by Mike Kuksala. Any other questions? We have just a few more minutes, because I know some people will be logging on after who won't get to ask questions. So your questions might help. They might help them.
When can we access the first sort of set of courses that you have with eLive?
So we're looking at, we had been hoping very beginning of June, but we're looking more towards mid-June. And what we will do is we will let you know, we'll let ECIS know, maybe they can blast out an email for you guys. But if you are interested in it, then please get in touch, and I'll put you on the database so that we can make sure we get that course out to you, and we get you the discount code for sticking with us during this webinar.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure, hopefully everybody agrees with me. This has been it's been really refreshing. It's been a very different type of webinar. Sometimes it is a little bit death by PowerPoint. So actually having a different approach has been really, really, and it's challenging and it's out there. So this has been hugely, hugely helpful. We will be, as we've mentioned, we're recording this, so we'll be sending this back out to everybody who's attended today and registered as well, for those who couldn't make it. And also we will feature this on the website and push this out. So if anyone is interested, or they also want to find out more about sort of other webinars, then ECIS have a number of webinars that are available at the moment. So we'll also forward all those details out to everybody. But please, thank you so much, ladies, for your energy and your enthusiasm and your sparkle, because it certainly made me giggle and laugh today, which I think we all need a bit of at the moment. So, yes. Has anyone got any other activities or any questions that they'd like to ask?
Well, we're receiving, thank you for all the encouraging comments, because that's really helpful to receive that feedback that it was helpful. And we're also happy to hear any sort of constructive feedback if you want to email me at joy@positivedisciplines.co.uk, because we can still make changes in the course. So please do get in touch. We're happy to, or if you want to add an activity to the course that you know would be really good, send it to me and I will add it to the course and give you credit for it. So please do that. So thank you so much. And Georgie and Joe and Cam, thank you for inviting us on and for being so organized and helpful during this process.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you all. Please have a great day, everybody. And we're really grateful for you joining us. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.